Hello, everybody. My name is Kyra Dolifka, and today we are going to be talking about Google Sites. So, first thing we need to really mention here is the difference between your domain and your hosting provider, okay? So, your domain is the website address. This is what the computer is using to find your website. So, for example, when we want to go to Google, we type google.com. That is the domain for Google's website. Now, hosting is where your website files actually live. This is what makes your website show up when someone types your address in the bar, right? So, some of you guys may be familiar with Wix or WordPress. They are very popular hosting providers. And then we also have Google Sites. So, in order to have a website appear in the internet, you have to have both a domain and a hosting service, which kind of makes it show up when people go there. So, how do I purchase a domain? This is the first thing you need to do when you are building a website. There are a lot of places online that you can purchase a domain. And actually, some of these hosting providers will even sell you your domain as part of their services. So some hosting providers, like for example, Wix, you can buy your domain directly through them. I actually buy my domains from Google Domains, and I typically pay about $12 to $15 a year for each domain. Okay, so your domain is usually going to be something you pay for on a yearly basis. Now, of course, this price depends on what domain you're actually looking for. As you can probably imagine, it'd be very expensive to buy google.com, right? But it's probably not so expensive to buy something that maybe isn't even a real word. So keep in mind this price is going to fluctuate based on what you are looking to buy. So some key points about Google Domains specifically. When you purchase a domain through Google Domains, it's actually going to be linked to your Google account that you use to purchase it, okay? What I mean by this is, Google, they have so many products, right? You log into Google to go to your Gmail account. Well, you're going to log into Google Domains using that Google account, and so it will be linked. The domain is renewing every year. You are not committed to any more than 1 year, but it will auto renew. Okay, so if you decide you want to change it, or for any reason you don't want to renew it with Google Domains, make sure you cancel it before the year is up. Now, these domains that you purchase through Google Domains, they are integrating easily with most hosting providers, and they integrate really, really well with Google Sites. So you can purchase your domain from wherever you really want to, like GoDaddy, for example, is another one that people are familiar with. I like Google Domains. I like to use Google products because it just works together so seamlessly, and we'll show you about that. So first thing, let's go through a demo of Google Domains. So whenever I need to go to Google Domains, I'm simply just going to Google search Google Domains, okay? I think it's the easiest way to get there. It looks like the web address is domains.google. So you're going to type in here what you want. So just throwing an example out there, what about worldadventurestravel.com? Okay, let's see what comes up when we search for this domain. You can see right here, this one is already registered. But when something that you've typed in is already taken, they actually provide other options for you. So you can see .net is available for $12 a year. I do recommend that you use .com because that is what most companies and most businesses are using for their website, but there's absolutely no reason you can't choose a different ending. You can actually see that they have one called .agency, which I find really interesting as travel agents, that would make it a very interesting website. But it actually, this one here is costing $20 a year, which is more than the .net and these other ones that we have up at the top. Now do notice they have worldadventuretravel.com. So I had typed adventures plural, but they do have the singular here. Now this is aftermarket, so somebody is selling it. And this one's actually $2,300 plus $12 a year. So it's a one-time fee of this $2,300, and then you're also going to pay $12 a year. So you're going to buy it from somebody for that price. Okay, so you can see that's kind of pricey. Depending on what you have named your business, you may have good success or maybe not so good success finding the web address that you want. Now, I do want to show you an example of one that is available so you see what that looks like. So my last name, dolifkatravel.com. Let's see what pops up. And you can see here we have an exact match. This one is $12 a year. If you want it, just go ahead and add it to your cart, and it will be $12 up front. So they're going to give you some advantages and some considerations for your website address. So you can see it's an advantage that it has a .com. It's not very long. So when you have a long web address, that's a lot for people to type, more prone for errors to happen. Now, one thing is pointing out is that this is not a common word. I'll admit my last name, you probably aren't going to spell it right your first time. So that's something to consider with this web address. But that kind of gives you an idea about how you might find your domain. And again, this is just Google Domains. I really like it. It's super easy. You add it to your cart, you're going to pay for it, and then you can do everything you need to do to manage it over time through Google Domains. So next thing, we're going to talk about your actual website. It's really important to mention images on your website, okay? You have to use open source, royalty-free, non-copyrighted photos for your website, okay? They're called lots of different things. Different sites are going to kind of call it different things. This is because you're using this for business use. There are some licenses on images that will let you use an image for personal use, but not for business use, excuse me. So do keep in mind that you want to find ones that are not copyrighted that you can use for your business, for your website. And if you have a good camera or a good camera on your phone, photos that you have personally taken, that is even better, right? No one's going to come after you for a photo that you have taken because you own that photo. Now, unsplash.com, this is a great place to go ahead and find these images. You can search for travel there. If you're looking for a picture of a beach, search beach. All of the photos on this website, they are open source and royalty free, so you don't have to pay for them, and you're allowed to use them for business purposes. So make sure that you are using images that you are allowed to use. Some key points about Google Sites: they will host your website for free. It is a free service that Google provides. Most hosting providers, they're charging at least $10 a month to host your website. So this is going to vary depending on what hosting service you are using. But, you know, we've got the domain to pay for, which we're going to say is about $12 a year. And you have the hosting service to pay for. Now, $10 a month, $15 a month, that can add up really quickly when you have just started your business. Google Sites is a really great first place to build a website because you're not paying a monthly fee to have your website hosted. So your website is going to pop up on the internet for free. Now, all this being said, it doesn't have all of the features nor the flexibility that some of these other services provide, right? That is why it is free, and that's why the other ones cost money. They have better features. They're going to have great images for you to use. Some of them even have templates that you can basically put the whole website together and you just have to change your words. So do keep in mind that a Wix website is probably going to end up looking a little bit better. Now, Google Sites works great with other Google products. So we all probably have a Google business page. If you don't have one, make sure that you watch the video on the website and get signed up for a Google business listing, because that is also free. But when you use Google products, Google notices, and they're going to actually rank your business higher because you are a good customer of Google. It's kind of funny how that works. So the more Google products you're using, the more Google likes you, the more they're going to put your business at the top. So kind of funny thing, and it works great with other Google products. I'll actually show you an integration with Google Forms here shortly. So let's hop into a demo, okay? I have a list here of everything I want to cover, so hopefully I don't miss anything. This is my Google Drive, okay? So if you have a Google account, you have a Drive, you can go to the app button over here, and the Drive is actually the triangle shape. And this is my little folder that I'm in. So to create a Google site, I'm just going to go over here to the left at New. And I am going to have to go to more. Okay, so it is under the more option, and I'm going to go down to Google Sites. It is going to put it in whatever folder I am currently sitting in. And here we go. We're going to start from scratch here. So first thing, let's look at this background. Okay, so you can make all of the little backgrounds images of your choice. I recommend that you go find pictures that you really like and that really convey what your niche is and what you are selling. So let's go ahead here, and I am just clicking on this header area, and I can go to change image. So you can upload images. In this case, I think I'm actually going to go ahead and look at what Google is already providing. Now, like I said, Google Sites works well with Google. You can actually go to your Google Drive and select an image from there. But from now, I'm going to search through what Google already has. And you know what? This one actually looks like a beach. So I'm going to go ahead and select this, and we'll see how that turns out. That is pretty good. So you're actually going to go ahead and put your site name over here at the top left. I'm going to just say my travel agency for now. And you can go ahead and add a logo as well. It tends to look better, I believe, if your logo is in a square shape, and it would be right here, kind of little. I don't have one easily accessible right now, but you can just go ahead and add your logo, and you can upload it there, and it will actually show up at the top of your website. Here, I might go ahead and type, let's say, travel freely. So that's going to be my header here. Next thing I want to mention is themes, okay? So this is kind of where Google is limited. These are the options that they already have created for you. Now you can kind of change the colors. You can see here on this simple one, there's some colors to choose from. I think I might go with the Diplomat for these purposes, and you can see it actually has put this in a box. It's changed the font. So these are your options to choose from, and you can change the color. I think I'm going to go with the default for now. So you have some customization, and they're going to be using colors that look good together. So next thing I want to do is I'm going to insert a button on my website. Okay, so this was under themes on the side. We're going to go over to insert. Insert is how you're going to put things into your website. So we have some text boxes, images, embed, and Google. This embed is going to be for code. You're probably not going to use it. We have some layouts to choose from, and then we have some just individual elements down here. One of the ones you're probably going to use the most is the button. So I'm going to go ahead and click this, and it wants a name. So what I like to put on my website at the very top is a request a quote button. So I actually have a Google form, and we have training on this on the website as well as to how to put one of these together. And I'm actually going to copy this URL into my button. And when they click this button, it is going to take them to my Google form where they can fill out their information. Really easy, right? So how can I customize this? Well, they're going to let you drag things around. You can kind of see that they have spaced the page out to help you center things and create columns. So I'll drag it over there. I can make it bigger as well. Now let's say I want to change the background. So I can go over to the little artist palette, and these are the colors that go with this theme. So I'm going to go ahead and change it to style 2, I think, just to kind of mix things up. I'm not so sure this looks great with the picture I selected, but I'm going to go with it for training purposes. And that is how I put in a button. So very first thing they're going to see on my website, right below my header, they're going to see my quote request button. Now, the layouts, these are really helpful that they are doing this for you. It makes it easier so you don't have to build this all by yourself. Now, let's say we want to go with this one. This is a picture on the left-hand side and some words on the right-hand side. So I'm going to click it, and it's populated that for me. So let's go ahead and pick a picture. So this time I think I'm going to go from my Google Drive. I did download a few pictures prior to this that I thought looked pretty nice, and I think I'm going to go with this one. So there's another way to upload a picture there. And, you know, some things you're probably familiar with. Let's crop this picture, right? Maybe I want to move it up a little bit so they can see a little more of the ocean, kind of center that island. I can kind of move it around. I can zoom in if I want. A lot of things that we're pretty familiar with. And over here on the side, let's say I have something I want to say. For example, travel the world. And we can have a little subsection here. We can book flights, hotel and resort accommodations. Nope, it was 2 M's. And more. So now I can piece together my website, right? I can put the words that I want to put. I can put pictures. I personally really like this layout right here. I'll go ahead and click it so you can kind of see what it looks like. I'll show you my website here at the end so you can get an idea, but I use this to list out all of the services that I provide, right? I have one for flights, I have one for cruises, I have one for hotels, and you can see this is really making your life easy. Just choose the layout that fits what you want to do. And again, I'm going to change the background color. I'm going to make it all this style too, so it blends in with what I have up there. And now I have a little bit of content. Now, let's say I have put a lot here, but I want to put another quote request button at the bottom, right? So they've scrolled through my information. Let's get them to click that button, right? Let's not let them forget that it was at the very top. So let's come back up to this top section, and everything is really done in sections. So that's how it's going to work on Google Sites. And when you're building your site, you can easily move them around. So let's say I want to duplicate what I already have. There is a duplicate button over here on the middle. And while I'm over here, there's also a delete button. So if you want to delete something, just come over to the side and do that. But I'm going to duplicate it. Now I have 2 quote request buttons, and I don't know if you can see all of these dots on the side. I'm going to go ahead and hover over that, and I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag this down to the bottom. So now I have my button right at the top, I've got my content, and I've got another button at the bottom. Now, next thing is a footer. This footer is going to show up on every one of your pages. So you can add it one time and it will always be there. So just scroll down to the bottom, hover over that, and you can add a footer. So what I like to do is I like to put a copyright on my website. So I'm actually just going to Google copyright symbol. I am going to, let's see, look and find. I can see right here that they have this symbol in here. And what I'm going to do is actually hover over this, and I'm going to copy this to my clipboard. So whenever I need a copyright symbol, I'm actually going to go take it from somebody else because I don't know the keyboard shortcut to do that. So I'm going to actually Google, and I'm going to paste it right in here. I'm going to put the year 2021, and I'm going to say, by my travel agency. So this is going to be my little copyright in my footer. Now, you know, another idea for your footer is maybe your contact information. When you have text, you can change the style, the font, the size. I don't want to make this one bold, and I actually want to put it in the center. You can see this one here will allow you to insert a link. So if you do need to insert a link to something, you can do that pretty easily as well. So there's my footer. And again, I want everything to be the same color. So I'm going to come back over here to the palette, and I'm going to choose style 2. Now, one thing that Google Sites does that is a little weird is they actually put the footer lower than it's going to look on the website. And I'll show you guys this in a minute, but you can see this white box here. We're not going to see it on the actual website. That's just something that Google Sites has done to separate the content from the footer, okay? So next thing, let's add another page. Now, when we're adding pages to our website, I recommend that you try and keep it to 5 pages at the max. You know, less pages is going to make things a little easier, right? When we go to a website and they have a bunch of options in the menu, it kind of becomes a little overwhelming, right? What do I click? There's so much information. So I recommend that you kind of limit how much you put on your website. But I do think it is good to have another page. So I'm going to actually create a content page. So we've gone to themes at the beginning. We went to insert to add our content. And now we're at the middle one, which is pages. You can see this is the home page. I'm going to go down to this plus, and I'm going to create a new page, and I'm going to call it Contact Us. Go ahead and click done here. Now, you're probably familiar. A great example is going to be Amazon, right? Amazon has categories of what you can buy. Maybe you go to clothing, and then a subcategory is women's clothing. or maybe another subcategory is the men's clothing. So you can actually organize your pages that way as well, but it kind of contradicts the whole keep it simple idea that I am trying to convey to you guys. But you can sub-nest these as well. You can kind of see, you can add a sub page over here, and you can duplicate them too. Now we're on the contact us page. You can see my footer is already there. Super easy, right? It's going to be on every page. So let's go back to insert. Now, what I like to do and what I really want to point out is, because if you are using Google Sites and you're using Google Forms, you can actually embed a Google form into your website. So down here at the bottom to my components, I can see forms as an option, and it's actually going to pull up the Google Forms that I have in my Drive. So I pre-created this contact us form. Let me show you guys what is on here. It simply just says, please fill out this information. We'll reach out to you within the next few business days. And it asks them for their name, email, phone number, and a description of how we can help them out. So this is going to be there. And when they fill it out, it's going to go to your Google form, just like if they had gone directly to the website. So I kind of like this. It allows you to have like an embedded form. They don't have to navigate to somewhere else. They don't have to click a button. Now, the reason I don't like this for my quote request form is that there's a lot of questions on that form, right? We need a lot of information to do a quote, and I think it just takes up too much space on the website. But this contact form, it's pretty short, just 4 questions. So I think it fits pretty nicely. And they're going to automatically kind of put it over here to the side. And I'm going to take advantage of this, and I'm going to come up to the top and I'm going to add a text box. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now it created a new section. But no worries, we can actually hover over this text box and we can click and drag it. Let's see if it wants to go down to this section, and that section at the top is deleted. I think it's a good idea to have, your contact information on your website. So you can say, you can reach me at, and put your email address and put your phone number, and leave that there. Now, if you are a team builder, if you invite people to the business, I also recommend you put a little sentence or paragraph that says, we are always looking for people to join our team of remote travel agents. So you can also put a little blurb there. I have this on my website, and every once in a while I do get someone reaching out looking for a job opportunity through my contact form. So they see it over here, they just go right over there and type it in. So you can put your contact information, and you can also include this as well. So let's see, have I missed anything? Okay, so that's this contact page. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to change the color of the background. Let's go over here and choose style 2. So everything is consistent. Of course, you can kind of change up the colors. I think it's really cool when you might have like a black section and then maybe you have one that's gray, and you kind of create visual separation with colors. You have some customization here, of course, but like I kind of mentioned, it's not as much as you're going to have with some other providers. So when I added this page, you can see I now have navigation at the top. This is automatically done for you. I'm going to go back to this home page. And before you publish your website, you need to look at what it's going to look like, right? One important thing when you're building a website is to remember that every device has a different screen size. So when you are ready to preview your website, you can go to this little, it actually looks like a laptop and a little cell phone button up here at the top, and you can go ahead and click on that, and it's going to give you a preview of the website. Now this is weird. I don't know why it's doing that. We might have to take a look, but you can kind of catch maybe some mistakes here. And this is going to be the computer view here. Now let's check for mobile devices, okay? It's very important that your website, and you can see here, it doesn't have the white gap, so I think that's just an error on their side. But it's very important that it looks good on mobile too, right? If you have a lot of pictures, how are the pictures and the words getting mixed? In this case, the picture went on top, right? So many people are going to find your website on their phone. Now this one in the middle is for tablet view, so you can kind of see here what it might look like on a tablet. Of course, every device is a little different, so it might change. So we're going to go ahead and exit the preview. It looks good. And next thing we're going to talk about, you bought that domain, right? How do I connect my domain to my website? So we've got the settings up here at the top, the gear. You can go down to custom domains here. Make your site easier to remember, and you're going to click on Start Setup. So if you purchased your domain through Google Domains, you're going to go ahead and select this top option. Now, if you bought it from somewhere else, that is okay. You can go connect that one as well. Or if you haven't bought it yet, you can go ahead and buy your domain here. But let's say I went with Google Domains, so I'm going to click on this and click Next. And it's actually going to go into my Google account and pull all of the domains that I own. You can see this is one that I already own. So it makes it super easy, right? It's already there. So you just select it from this drop down and it will populate. So very easy to do that. Okay. And when you have your domain hooked up, when everything looks good and you are ready to go live with your website, you're going to click this publish button up at the top. Now, I did not hook up a domain to this website, but Google is actually going to give you a web address regardless, okay? So similarly to how we do things with Evolution, you can get a sites.google.com/view and you can choose what goes at the end. So let's say I type in travel. Well, this one's already taken, looks like somebody is already using it, but maybe I can go back to the World Adventures Travel. So this is another option. It's already taken too. That's interesting. Okay, well, what about, let's go to my Dolifka travel. This is the hardest thing about domains, is finding something that's not already taken. So you can see here, I can go ahead and take this web address right here and I can click publish. It can take 24 to 48 hours the first time you publish your website for it to actually show up. Okay, so do keep in mind it doesn't go up immediately. It does sometimes take some time. Now, the good news is that you can edit this website at any time using the things that we already talked about. Your changes do not go live until you click the publish button. So let me go ahead and show you my website, and this was built with Google Sites. KyraDtravel.com. So I have my business name up here. Similarly to how I showed you, I have a request a quote button that redirects them to my Google form here. And then I have used the 3 pictures with the text, just like I mentioned, to list out some things that I sell. I have another request quote button at the bottom, and then I've got my copyright. And I have a contact page as well. You can see I wrote a lot more than I did in my example. You're welcome to come to my website and use it as an example. But one thing I will say is that unique content rules king on the internet, okay? You have written a description for your travel website with Evolution. You've probably written a description for Facebook or maybe any other social media that you're on. Maybe you've written a description for a Google business listing. Every time you write a description, it should be different. Unique content rules king. So if you are using my website or any other leader's website as an example, it is in your best interest to rewrite it in your own words, okay? We are all willing to let you look at our website as an example, but please write your own. It is going to benefit you and it's going to benefit us to have unique wording. I know that can be hard, but I usually like to look at what I wrote and I just write it with some different words, right? So keep that in mind. Unique content is going to be the best. So with that being said, thank you for watching my training on Google Sites. I hope you found it useful. Again, Google Sites is free. It is a really great first place for you to go to build your very first website. And I think it looks pretty good for something that you're not paying for. Now, further down the line, you may decide that a paid service might be a better fit for you. And that is totally always change things up. So thank you again.